Welcome back to the Garden Salad channel. This week we're going to be looking at getting snails drunk. But before we do that, I need to do some fertilizing here. So what I've got here is I've got some blood and bone, natural blood and bone, boosted with New Zealand seaweed apparently. So according to the instructions here, new garden beds 200 grams per square meter. Now when you're first putting fertilizer out, if you haven't used it before, then maybe it can be a little bit difficult to estimate how much 200 grams is. So I'm going to measure that out for you and show you here what 200 grams looks like on the kitchen scales. Here we are with the fertilizer all measured out. So this here is 200 grams. Now you notice I'm wearing gloves because this stuff does smell quite a bit. As you can imagine, it is literally blood and bone from animals, so it does smell a little bit. I just hope that my dog won't start to get up the garden trying to eat it. So let me show you this on the camera if I can. So I'm not sure what's going to focus on that. So that there is about 200 grams. It's a bit hard to see here. So that's going to be in 1 square meter. Now these boards here are roughly around 1.1, I believe. So if I take 1 square, which is about here, this end, that's equal to about what I need to sprinkle this out at. So let me sprinkle this. And now into this end. Almost finished here, just the last little bit. A bit in here, a bit in there. Alright, so this here is about as thick as you want it. You don't really want it any more thicker than this. Just a bit of a light sprinkling really across the garden. And that's about the rate you want for new garden beds. So if you're planting a plant like a shrub or a tree of some sort, a fruit tree or something, it's about 50 grams per hole, so it's about a quarter of that. And then for established trees and shrubs, it's about 100 grams, so it's about half the amount. But for the garden beds, this here is about how much you want. So you can see it's not really, it's not on there thick. You don't want it just sitting on the top in a big lump. And we're going to dig this in anyway. So let me get my trowel and we'll dig this in. Okay, I've got my trusty trowel here. Now with this blood and bone, it may have been a little bit more difficult to look up to see it earlier on. So you can see here it's not really a whole hell of a lot. Sorry, I've got a mosquito trying to get me here. It's not a whole heck of a lot on there, just like a bit of a sprinkling really. Not massive amounts. So if you just get this trowel and you just sort of dig it over a little bit, what you want is just to dig that but and just, oops, I forgot I had like a little tiny spinach in the corner there, a little weedy one. Okay, so we're just going to like dig it in a little bit, dig it over a little bit, and that'll make its way down into the roots of these plants. Alright, almost done there. Turn it over a little bit. Where's that one gone? Did I cover that up, did I? Oh. Covered it up and dug it out. Oops. That was not too bright to me, was it? Let's see if I can plant it back in there again. That's one thing you got to watch out for when you're in the garden, is doing dopey things like that. Let me try that again. Get in there. Get out. Okay. Get out there, stick. Okay. Alright, hopefully that should be all good. You really need this kind of just dug in through the surface here. Dug it in a little bit. It doesn't have to be like massively down, because most of the roots are on the surface for these vegetables. Alright, that's my 1 metre done. Now I'm going to go along and I'm going to fertilise the rest of the bed. Okay, we're back here again on the next weekend. Last weekend was a bit of a write-off. It was pretty rainy, and it rained like the entire rest of the day and the next day as well, so I couldn't do any more filming, but I'm here today to carry on. Now, we finally got to the part where we talk about getting snails drunk. Now, why do we do that? The reason is because that snails love beer. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these jars here, bury them in the ground, or mostly buried, put some beer in there, and then what happens is the snails come in and they come into the jar, they drink the beer, and they fall in and drown. Now, I said in a previous video I didn't like squashing snails, didn't like that slimy kind of, you know, that feeling of squishing their snail shells and just yuck. So this is better for me. Still gets rid of them, and what happens is you end up with a pickled snail that the birds love to eat. And also I have a hedgehog that runs around in a property. I don't think he can get out. He just seems to run around, and I see him every few weeks at the evening. So he might eat them as well. Now, the type of beer, you get like a dark beer. This is a dark ale. they got from the supermarket. So this should be good. The darker the better. The thing is that snails, they love the yeasty kind of fermentation from the beer. So what we're going to do is chuck these in here. Okay, I would never do well in a pub, would I? Okay. That should be enough. It's really just enough so that if the snails go into it, then they're not going to touch the bottom and climb back out. So as long as it's deep enough, for them to drown on, that's all good. The good thing about this method is that if you didn't have anything left over, then it's pretty refreshing as well. It's always a bonus having leftover beer. So we're going to bury these in the garden. Now, besides using these jars, you can use any type of jars. Glass is best. Get some old jam jars. You don't need the lids. So I've got some old strawberry jam, mixed berry jam, which is perfect. The other thing I had heard, and this is a test because I've never done it before, I have heard that you can do the same thing. Instead of using beer, we're going to use some yeast, some active yeast, some sugar, and some warm water. So I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to put these two jars here with this yeast concoction and these two with beer, and we're going to see just exactly whether one works better than the other, or whether this one works at all. I know the beer does work because I have tried that before, but does the yeast and water work? So obviously with yeast, to make it ferment, you actually need sugar. So I've got some just some white sugar here, just plain stuff. So that's all good. And this water here is jug was boiled, so it's actually just warm. It's actually just more bit warmer than tepid, I imagine. So it's a little bit of warmth to it, but it's not hot at all. So with this, you really don't want the liquid too high, because if it's up to the top of the jar, what happens is as the snails come along and they just dip their face in and get drunk, have some beer, have some fermented water, and then they slide it off again. So you want it deep enough, you want enough of a gap so that they actually have to climb down into the jar to get it, and not just put their face over the edge. The other thing I should mention is that one of the reasons I don't like putting snail bait down is because I have a dog, and the dog eats it. We had some rat bait, which is quite similar, and the dog ate that, and I'll pick that up later. The dog ate some rat bait and almost died. I had to have some medicine, and he was pretty touch and go for a few days just from the rat poison that I'd put down. It was one of those things, he hadn't eaten it, hadn't touched it, and for few weeks, and I didn't really think much of it. And then one day, obviously, he just decided to have a munch on the rat bait. So this is another good reason if you have pets, if you have dogs especially, instead of putting snail bait down that dogs can get into, this is another good thing to do. This is another reason to use beer or fermented water potentially. Don't know yet. So, Barley, come. So if you have one of these guys, then best to use this method. You're not going to drink that, are you? Nah. Good boy. Okay, that's it. So I'm going to put these in the garden now. So let's go over and have a look at the garden, and I'll show you how to bury these. Alright, let's go. Okay, so here I've got some beer, and I've got yeast, sugar, water. I'm going to put these in the same garden so that we can see whether it works, and I'm going to put 2 different ones in my other garden bed as well. So you can see here there's some little holes in the cabbage leaves, and snails love this area. So what I'm going to do is just bury this in here, and I'm just going to put some soil up to it, like that, and then hopefully the snails will come and drink that for them. Now, also on this side, I've got some bok choy, and this also gets eaten by the slugs and the snails quite a lot too, so put it by their favourite food. Hopefully we'll attract them as well. Okay, so these are just sticking out, maybe a centimetre, half an inch out of the ground. The smell of that should attract them. So let's go on to the next garden, put those into. Okay, here we are on the next garden with the beer again. And for this one, we've got these carrots, onions, garlic, beetroot, and the snails don't really seem to eat them. What they do eat is this broccoli. So I'm just going to put one over here, and then one down here a little bit further. I'm not going to bother putting it on this side, because so far, touch wood, the snails don't really care about that. So let's dig this in here. Sorry, worm. Oh, put some dirt in there, that's not good. Never mind. We're going to have a dirty beer. Okay, and put one down here. Take the weeds out. This jar's probably a bit tall actually. Probably needed a shallower one. Okay, that's done. Okay, so that's all done. That's all good. Let's have a look at that in a few days' time, or a week's time. Let's see how many snails we've got there. Should get a couple, because this particular hedge that's behind is box hedging, and there is snails there all the time, every evening, and I'm constantly coming out and taking snails off the hedge, chucking them away, taking them out of the garden. So there's definitely a lot of snails around still, even though I've chucked a lot away. So we'll see you back here in a couple of days, and yeah, we'll see how it's going. I should have shown you earlier, but this is my nightly ritual. Oh look, a snail riding on a snail. Nope. 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 No. Good boy. Nope. 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 Here I am 1 week later, and we're going to check out bear trap and yeast and sugar trap, and see how they did, see how they compared against each other. So what we'll do is we'll dig up these jars first. This one here. It's got some little bugs in there. Normally you could just, still smells very bearish. I'll just tip this out here through the sieve and see whether it actually caught anything. Okay. So let's have a look in here. Let's have a look. You can see that on the camera. So we've got a big slug, but they are the good type that you don't really want to kill off. But it did catch a snail. There is a snail in here, and there's a couple of tiny little slugs up there too, little baby ones, which they I think might be the bad kind. So I've got something. The good thing about this is that I can chuck this out for the birds to eat. It's all pickled. So I'm going to chuck it over here out of camera, but in the sun. Hopefully the birds will come over here and eat it. Okay. And next is the yeast and sugar one. Interesting. So, in this one you can see we got a slug. You can see that? Oh yeah, here we are. You can see a slug. So that's the bad variety as well, so it's good that it caught that. That's perfect. What I'm going to do is chuck this out. What else should I do? Yeah, we'll check the other traps first and see how they got on, and then we might fill these back up and refill them and have another go for another week. Alright, let's have a look at this second garden over here. Let's have a look here. So I'll pull this out, probably go in the garden. It's not good. And if you look in here, we did get a snail down here, but We also got these 3 slugs here that fell in. They are the good ones that eat all the bugs and stuff, so not ideal that they got caught as well. In fact, every time I came out here during the evening to check on them this week, there was always one of these big tiger slugs in there having a bit of a drink. So it's a bit of a shame that they fell in, because at the start of the week they were drinking but not actually going in and dying, which is good. But now they've maybe they had a bit too much to drink after a hard binge week of drinking. He fell in. It's unfortunate. Let's go. Put these over here for the pickle these for the birds. And over here is the last one. That was the yeast and sugar. Unfortunately, well, it's got a couple of flies, this one. 4 of them. It's interesting. Let's have a look in here. Got the big tiger slug, which is, again, unfortunate. We've got some flies in there. Not sure if you can see those in the camera. This is not a tiger slug. This is a bad one that eats my vegetables. A small one. Interesting, we've got flies in there. I wouldn't think we've got flies, but fascinating. Again, a shame that we unfortunately got a big tiger slug in there. Not sure what to do now. Whether we fill it back up. I don't really want to kill these slugs. Just the snails. So, let's go pickle these out for the birds. So it's not ideal. I did get some snails. Got 2 or 3 snails in there, which is and a couple of slugs, the bad slugs, which were good. That I got those. Unfortunately, it does get the slugs that are beneficial for the garden, the tiger slugs. They're carnivores, so they just eat other insects and stuff. So they're actually pretty good. I actually want those in the garden. Not sure what to do here. Do I refill these and risk any more of the big tiger slugs being killed and drowned, or do I just carry on, come out here at night time and picking all the snails off by hand, one by one? What I might do, I might try one more week. I'll give these a rinse and fill these back up, and we'll give it another week and then see how it goes, and then after that make a decision. This time, take my gloves off. 1 sip for me. 2. The rest for the snails. Alright, that's it for this video. As you can see, it did work. There were snails in there, and slugs. Unfortunately, it's a bit indiscriminate, so it gets both the good slugs and the bad ones, which is a bit of a shame. I kind of expected that though, to be fair. But I think this is probably, it's a good alternative if you don't want to use snail bait. If you have dogs that might eat it, it's pretty bad for them. So I think this is probably a good alternative. What I might do is try this over the next week, see how many more slugs or snails it gets. If it only gets one or two, then I might just take it out, because I'd rather have the good slugs in there, eating all the aphids and the little insects and things like that, rather than one or two. Because when I come out here during the evenings and I take the dog out, and I often find one or two snails around the place, so I can kill those and take those off and chuck them away. So it probably, probably the costs outweigh the benefits if it's going to keep catching the beneficial slugs. But if you don't have those in your garden, if you don't have the slugs, the beneficial ones, the variety, then this is the way to go. Using beer, getting the slugs and snails drunk, and drowning them, pickling them in the beer, I guess you could say, which is great for the birds. I'm surprised I haven't seen any actually they're eating them already, because birds are pretty ravenous when it comes to pickled snails, pickled slugs. Alright, that's me for another week. Thanks for watching, and just remember to like and subscribe. It's through people like you liking and subscribing to the channel that helps the channel grow and helps the garden grow. So thanks for your support. Cheers, guys.